Hi, this is Jim Seimas.
And Andrew Matheson for double coverage. Our Week 7 preview. Get them up.
They're up.
They're up. Preview edition for Friday night games. 4 games on the slate. 2 more on Saturday. You can check those out on a different video.
Okay.
Let's get right to it.
Sure.
We're more than halfway through the season.
Not a drop of rain. I'm loving it.
Not a tear in my eye either. No. Let's start right at the top. St. Francis going to Granada High in Livermore to take on Livermore Valley Prep. Now at 7:30 p.m. Check your schedules.
I will.
Livermore Valley Prep, the LVP.
The LVP, coached by
Fred Bolitnikoff Jr.
Sticky Hands.
Son of course, Oakland Raiders Hall of Fame wide receiver, Fred Bolitnikoff.
Yeah. You sure?
He coaches LVP. They're 1-6 this year. They have 1 win, as I just said, to Turlock Christian, 66-40. They have 102 points total in the season, almost all of which came against Turlock Christian.
I like the other side of that. They've allowed 300 points this year.
Yes.
In 7 games, that's an average of 42.8 points.
Not good.
That is a lot. 39 of those points were scored by California School to Death. So they have a loss to them. But last week, they lost 65-6.
66-6.
That's where our point difference is.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And that was, like you said.
Very sinister
To
loss.
Mountain View Christian. Mountain View Christian. I've never even heard of Mountain View Christian.
I believe they're in Nevada.
They are.
Okay.
All right. That's why. All right. So, that said, that's all I need to know.
Yeah.
I mean, do we need to ramble off and say that, keep an eye on Alex Schlick, their quarterback, who's a freshman?
Coach Adam Hazel said he has a good arm. He can move well. The guy they're looking out for is the wide receiver. Let me get his name. Havashesh Machani. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. He nailed it.
They want to know where he's on the field at all times.
Because he's so diminutive. He's 150 pounds.
And 5'10", so he'll disappear under a front line for
sure.
But yeah, I mean, St. Francis has 3 straight losses, aside from the forfeit win that they picked up against Harker.
Yeah.
But I think they should have won last week. They had 3 second-half turnovers.
We thought they should have won every week, actually, right?
Have we? No, we picked SoCal. Picked SoCal, but we were surprised.
We were brilliant there.
We were surprised that they held their own.
I do think that, I think it'll be a decent game. Is Matt Clifton going to be in there at linebacker? Who knows?
Yep.
But I think obviously we say the same names every week for St. Francis in terms of skill position, star power. They'll still be there.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, the second-half turnovers killed them last week. I would think they're going to build back off of that this week. And does Clifton play? He's supposed to be reevaluated this week. Yeah. He sat out last week with a concussion. But yeah, we'll see it. But even if it doesn't play, I still think they're going to take it to LVP.
Sharkies.
Next up on the schedule, Harbor High visiting Santa Cruz High, 7:30 p.m. for the Shell.
The Shell.
The Shell.
Not the Stomp.
Not the Stomp.
The Shell.
These 2 teams have met up every year since 1969. Harbor snapped a 5-game losing streak to Santa Cruz last year, but they still own the all-time record 23-20-1. And they're both coming off victories over SLV.
I can't choose last year's winner. I have to choose this year's winner, and I have no idea. I'm going to have to figure out in the next 1 minute, 30 seconds who wins this game. So give me some selling points on who I should pick.
Well, I mean,
they both beat SLV last week.
They both beat SLV, and it was kind of similar.
Okay.
They got slim margin leads, I guess, held much of the game, and then they pulled away in the fourth quarter. Both teams.
Player personnel. Why is this? Who's going to win this game?
Well, you got Harbor, you got Milo Small, you got Matheson.
Yes, and then
the question each week is, can they establish that running game?
They also passed to them a lot.
They did so against SLV with Jaden Todman and Pablo Correa.
Surprised the heck out of me. Yes.
Santa Cruz, of course, is going to go the opposite way.
Okay.
Ashton Davis and Dale Stoller.
Okay.
They got Alex Morris. They got a couple other guys in that backfield. Drake Fennelly can throw the ball, as we've seen in the past weeks.
Yes.
Will he do it this weekend?
Wow, that's a lot of information to process. So give me a few seconds. Okay, processed. Now I want to counter that because everything you mentioned about at least to the Mac Hessen side and
sure,
all the good stuff, all the quarterback and the passing over at Harbor with how good Milo Small is. I think one of Santa Cruz's strengths is their defensive secondary. You have Alex Morris back there, track champion, saying he can't hang with anyone in the league. They're speedy all across the board in the defensive secondary.
Yeah.
Can they generate a pass rush? That'll be key. I think they have an edge on the line. So
Miles
they're playing at home. I just want to mention real quick, and it's Santa Cruz homecoming, and they're retiring Brendan Medeja's number. Santa Cruz, that's who I'm taking.
I'm going to go with you. I'd kind of lean towards Harbor if it was at their place, but it's not. You mentioned kind of that secondary, which is going to be. I mean, if they don't get that run game going, it's going to be hard. And I think that secondary is going to be hard on Miles Small, I think. But I wouldn't be surprised if Harbor win, but I'm going to go with Santa Cruz as well.
I'm thinking Harbor has a shot.
Yeah, but we're both picking Santa Cruz. Next up on the schedule, Monte Vista Christian coming off their first ever Gavilan Division victory.
Yeah, dog.
In all 2 years of the Gavilan Division. But they didn't play it last year. Going down to Hollister to take on San Benito High at 7:30 p.m. on Friday night. The Hay Balers, of course, the defending CCS Division I champs. And, of course, Division I is your big schools. That kind of shows you the discrepancy between these two schools. MVC's probably, San Benito's probably going to have a roster more than twice the size of MVC. I think it's about 29 to about 65 or so.
There's no way Monte Vista wins this game. That's what you've set me up to believe.
Based on my little preview?
Yeah, I'm just scared to death of Hollister.
I think it's worth mentioning.
Well, Monte Vista Christian isn't scared of Hollister. They told me so last week.
Okay.
Why? Hollister's 0-2 in league.
Yeah.
Granted, they've lost to Monterey and Salinas, but they're 0-2. They're beatable.
And they've lost 4 of the last 5.
Yeah, so you know what? I'm not saying I'm going to pick Monte Vista Christian. Monte Vista Christian has a lot of momentum, yes. Yeah. Do they have the horses to compete with Zach Hicks and David Stanton make the tackles and stop those
licks?
Yeah. Zach Hicks. David Stanton, the big running backs that, they're usually bigger up front, right?
Yeah, they're big up front. They're the running back. They're usually, back when I was there, they were doing triple option / wing T.
Yeah.
So they're running the ball.
Yeah.
We already know that. But the big thing with them recently this season.
Stanton has thrown 5 interceptions this year. They passed a little bit.
They passed a little bit.
Okay.
To the other team.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Love it when I stump my.
But the big thing this year with Hollister is turnovers.
Yeah.
They've 13 in 6 games. Not good.
No.
And they're turning the ball over even when they win. So, which has only been twice this season. So, if MVC can get those turnovers, they had 4 last week against Monterey.
Yeah.
If they can get those turnovers and capitalize on them and play a game similar to the one that they played against Salinas, and Salinas has already beaten San Benito, and they beat them by a decent little margin.
Are you calling a stunner? Are you calling a stunner? Who are you calling here? Are you calling Hollister?
No, I'm leaning towards San Benito just because it's at their place, it's their homecoming. The numbers I think is a deal.
Should be an
especially
issue.
late in the game. I think there is a blueprint there for MVC. They need to get those turnovers. They need to capitalize on those turnovers, and they need to play a game close to, I think, the way they played Salinas.
Dominic Hopkins and Deshaun, excuse me.
Yeah,
I have massacred that. Deshaun Hopkins and Dominic Robles, if they could carry the ball without turning over and Monte Vista could play a little defense, they might have a chance.
Yeah.
Still, I just don't see it.
They need to put some points.
Yeah, they do. It could be a close game, but I don't see it. I have to go Hollister as well.
I'm going to go Hollister. In the 4th and final game on Friday night. You like that?
I do.
7:30 p.m. Pajaro Valley visiting Christopher High in Gilroy. Both teams looking for their first Pacific Division win. Pajaro Valley's, of course, goes a couple years back. We're looking for that league win. Hopefully it snaps this year. 7:30 p.m. against Christopher. A team that many picked to win the Pacific Division.
Yes.
Based on my thorough research at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
A lot of teams like Christopher because they returned almost every single player from last year's team. Of course, that last year's team had a losing record. But still, I think they only graduate like one guy from last year. They returned their quarterback, Sterling Montgomery. They returned their running back, Rayshawn Mills. They returned their running back, Max Sanford. All those guys are back. And yet right now they're 3-3, 0-2.
Doesn't make sense. Numbers never make sense sometimes. Sterling Montgomery, their quarterback, has passed for 10 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions.
And I think he's more than 1,000 yards too.
1,137 yards. And then like you mentioned, Rayshawn Mills, guy's rushed for 560 yards essentially and 6 touchdowns.
Yeah. You look at the offense, you're like, wow,
and you're like, hey,
that's a winning formula.
You're 0-2 in the league. But granted, they lost to North Salinas and they've lost to Alvarez.
Which is having one of the best years probably ever.
So that's a deceptive 3-3 record overall for the Christopher Cougars. Grizzlies falling on hard times again in the league.
Sure.
They're 0-3, can they play some defense? Can they maintain possession and pound the ball with Aguilar and Cantrell?
Yeah.
I don't know. Once again, where's this game at? Help me out.
This game's in Gilroy.
Okay. I like Christopher.
And you mentioned kind of them pounding the ball.
Yeah.
So far, Power Valley has run for 2,428 yards this season, which is already 114 more than all of last season rushing the ball. So they're rushing the ball pretty well.
Yeah, they've got a pretty good 1-2 punch.
I mean, they got like 4 or 5 guys.
I mean, Trevor Hadnot.
Yeah.
Also, but those guys, have at least over a couple hundred yards. So
yeah.
It's just.
I feel like PV just needs to figure out another way, because right now they're getting outscored in the last 3 games. All losses for PV. Mm-hmm. They've been outscored 97-14 in that first half. They need to get something going in that first half, because they're finding room to run in the second half. But at that point, they're out of the game. Yeah. So they need to get it going in that first half, and they need to find something to kind of counter that run a little bit, because I think teams know what they're doing a little bit, and they're able to shut it down.
I gotta go with Christopher.
Yeah.
Keep it short and sweet on that one.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna go with Christopher as well. I mean, they were the preseason favorite. I expect them to eventually snap this cold streak. So that's it for Friday's edition of Double Coverage, our Week 7 preview. You can check out Saturday's edition as well, where we'll break down the Cabrillo game and the granddaddy of them all, Aptos versus Scotts Valley. Check that out. You can check us out online. We're on Twitter. We're on Tout. We're on Facebook. You can like us on Facebook. We are on Google Play. We are on Apple.
Everything. Just find us. And most importantly, we're on the Santa Cruz Sentinel.com /football. Oh.